But that's when the journey into Sheriff Joe Arpaio's Maricopa County jail system began. Have you heard of Sheriff Joe, Mark?
No.
He's got them in the black and white stripes and the pink underwear.
Okay. Right.
Feeds them green bologna with dead rats in the mystery meat slop, cockroaches crawling over us at night times. It was extreme. It was the jail that had the highest rate of death in America. But I needed to go through such an extreme environment for it to get crushed out of me, that person to get crushed out of me, and to reevaluate my worldview and value system. And
So how long did you get?
I was facing a maximum 200-year sentence. But these prosecutors, they're like used car salespeople. They start out really high. You think you're never going to get out. And when I was offered a plea deal and I got sentenced to 9.5 years, that was one of the happiest days of my life. Because I thought I was never going to get my life back. I mean, when they told me I was looking at 200, I almost killed myself. And I was going to slash my wrists and bleed out. But I was looking at the photos of my mum, dad, girlfriend, thinking my mum's going to get a call saying your son slashed his wrist in a foreign jail. It stopped me from doing it. But I put myself in there. I'm not trying to whine here. The world hates a whiner. I take full responsibility for my actions, putting myself in that environment. And the extremity of it is what gave me a story, really, because the media interest began around my blog and my time in Sheriff Joe Arpaio's jail. So, you know, you're interested in criminal justice issues, Mark. Before going to prison, I thought, you know, it's all like Shawshank Redemption. The media also shows that most prisoners are like predators, serial killers, murderers, rapists. And it's really easy to get PlayStations, gourmet food, luxuries. That's how it's portrayed in the UK. And yeah, you know, those prisoners are in there. But when I got in there and I saw the average arrest was a black kid, Mexican kid, with a joint of weed getting a 2 to 5 year sentence, I was wondering what the hell was going on. I had a cellmate who he got I think almost 2 years for a roach. And when I got out and deconstructed the war on drugs and mass incarceration, about which I've written 5 books, I researched that at the height of the war on drugs back then, the highest arrest category in the history of criminal justice was weed possession. Almost 1 million arrests a year. Young people. Not the dealers, because they're harder to catch. And what do? They throw them in these jails where they get $60,000 a year of taxpayers' money per person. That's why they went after the lowest hanging fruit, the contracts with the private prisons in America in the tens of billions a year alone now.
Yeah.
And they kick down tens of millions to the Democrats and the Republicans a year in political contributions to keep those contracts rolling. This is why America's got 1 in 100 out of prison.
I mean, it's private prisons, and we've got it here now. Private prisons are money-making businesses. You know, there's such money-making businesses that actually, you know, we want more people in jail in order for the private prisons. I mean, I think one of the worst things was to privatize any elements of the prison service. You know, it should still very much be a government run. So you're in prison in a foreign country. You are sentenced to 9.5 years. Was that tough? Did people have a go at you? Were you having to watch your back all the time?
I wasn't sentenced till my 3rd year, Mark. It was a complex case with over 100 co-defendants. So once you got arrested, you go in a subterranean thing called a horseshoe. So first thing is plexiglass window, little old lady screams in your face, you know, have you got lice? Have you got HIV? Have you got hepatitis C? Have you got herpes? She's screaming all these things at you. And then they take your belt off you, your shoes. They strip search you. And the strip search is more intrusive. You know, having a podcast now and interviewing, you know, almost 1,000 people, many of whom have been in prison in the UK. In America, the strip search, so you're completely naked in front of the guard, looks in your mouth, ears, armpits, raise your man parts, turn around, bend over, spread your buttocks wide open, cough. They're looking right up your backside to see if you're smuggling anything. Then there's the foreskin search, pull your foreskin back. I'm looking at the guy like, what? He's like, pull your foreskin back. I'm like, why? There could be drugs in there. So then you pull your foreskin back and it's called Peter gazing, someone staring at your dick. It's like being visually raped. There was times, Mark, when I was strip searched 3 or 4 times a day. If you got a job in the kitchen, you strip searched on the way in and the way out. Get a visit, strip searched on the way out. Yeah, and again, but that's just part. I did the crime, got to do the time, got to suffer the consequences.
Was there violence around there in jail? Did you get attacked?
So I go in, and it's all racial gangs. So it's drug gangs. Obviously, there's more drugs in prison than anywhere on the face of the earth, and the drugs are run by the gangs. So in America, it's the whites is the Aryan Brotherhood, neo-Nazis. Blacks is the Mau Mau. This is in Arizona. Then you've got the Chicanos, the Mexican Americans, and then you've got the Border Brothers or the Mexican Nationals, the Paisas. So because I'm white, some skinheads from the AB, Aryan Brother, come up to you right away. Hey, we want a word with you. Get in that cell over there. And you can't say no, or they just crack your head into the wall. So then they said to me, what are your charges? What are your charges? A charge on a sheet, a printout, like conspiracy, crime syndicate, or all this kind of thing. I'm new to this. I don't understand what it means. So I say, I don't know what my charges mean. That is not a good answer. Now they got me about to attack me. What do you mean you don't know what your charges mean? Are you a chomo? Are you a chomo? I don't even know what a chomo was at this point. So in the end, I pull out my charge sheet. They see him in for drugs. That's acceptable. Nearly everyone is in prison. It's drug related these days. Then they explain all the rules. If someone calls you a punk, a bitch, or hits you, you must fight him on the spot or else the whole gang will attack you. Must take showers or they'll attack you for bad hygiene. Can't go make your friends with the guards, they'll attack you for snitching. Can't go sit at the tables of other races, they'll attack you for that. So everything you take for granted about your safety is reversed. They're constantly looking for people to beat up because that's how they earn their tattoos. And to be a full member of the Aryan Brotherhood, you have to murder someone for them in the jail. So there was another guy who came in who they suspected was a chomo. They smashed him in the shower. They're just kicking him. They leave him whimpering in a pool of blood. And then this big guy with the cobwebs tattooed down his neck, all this Nazi stuff on him, says to the leader of the gang, is like, how come we can still hear him? Oh, we smashed him good, dog. Not good enough. And he goes in there. It's like he's trying to crack this guy's head open like it's a coconut. Just crack, crack, crack. And then when the guy gets taken out on a stretcher, there's not just blood coming out of his head. There's something yellowish coming out of his head. And because I had a cellmate at one point who was a heroin user, and I asked him, said, I want to do, I want the stats on this. You tell me, everyone in these cells, who's shooting up. And he went, those two. It was 90% of the prisons I was housed with were injecting heroin.
And that was coming from prison guards, was that?
The main way drugs get into prison are the staff. So this is what blew my mind as well was, all these people are in here for drug offences. And what are they doing? The whole day revolves around getting the drugs in. The staff are bringing it in. The dealers are making more money in here than they were outside. And it's just the only people this is working for. It's not working for society. It's not the only people it's working for is the private prisons and all the hundreds of contractors around it. So 2/3 had hepatitis C from shoving dirty needles. Interferon with the treatment was 30,000 a year. So they just rather they die rather than pay the treatment, get a healthy prisoner on that bunk to maximise their profits. That's what I saw. They won't give them the treatment unless they get lawyers in, and by then the liver's so advanced they're going to die anyway. I lost so many people, so many friends I made in prison to the liver, killing them. And then you've got spice everywhere now as well. They're writing to me saying that all the prisons all over the world are flooded with spice.
So you serve your sentence, you get released, and are you deported there and then out of the country?
I had to go to a deportation facility, and then I was put on a plane from LA to London. There's videos on my YouTube channel. I'm all stubbled out and I'm all bug-eyed, hugging my mum, my dad, my sister. Mum's crying. In the car drive on the way out the airport, my sister's showing me her phone, explaining what texting is. They take me to Indian food, and I ordered chicken tikka masala, my former favourite. But I got the gag reflex because of the dead rats in the mystery meat slot we call Red Death in the jail. I actually converted to the Hindu religion in the jail to play the system to get a vegetarian religious diet. I was doing yoga at the same time. I still do yoga now. And I've stayed vegetarian to this day after getting the gag reflex with the chicken tikka. But my blog, the activism mark, started when I said to a guard when I was in max security, Madison Street Jail, 2004. I said, how do you guys get away with this? Dead rats in the foods, guards murdering mentally ill prisoners, cockroaches crawling over us at night time. I'm not saying it should be easy, but it was extreme human rights violations. And the guard said to me, the world has no idea what's going on in here, and the public doesn't give a shit about prisoners. So with a tiny little pencil sharpened on my cell door, I started to write everything down. My aunt would come and visit me in max security. It's like behind the plexiglass, you know. But I was allowed to release property to her through the guard, so I hid what I wrote in like legal paperwork letters. She smuggled them out of Max, typed them up, sent them to my family in England. They put them online as a blog, John's Jail Journal, Jon, so it wasn't in my name. All time-stamped. So most of my journey through the incarceration system of Arizona is still online, available, real-time, time-stamped through these blogs. And then that sent me in this completely new direction then of exposing what was going on in the system and being this human rights activist. The YouTube channel was started in 2007. So we did actually start the first prison blog and first prison YouTube channel.